All right, so let's talk about Annie Get Your Gun. So Annie Get Your Gun was a pretty big get for Broadway because the pedigree behind this thing was unmatched. So you had Rodgers and Hammerstein producing it. And again, they pretty much ruled Broadway in the 40s, both as composers and songwriters themselves and also as producers. Starring Ethel Merman, one of the biggest stars Broadway had seen, and with music and lyrics by our old friend Irving Berlin. Now, this is where the story behind the story is actually quite interesting. Berlin didn't want to do this show. Berlin was very much a student of the old school of Broadway. He liked the review format. He liked just writing songs and having fun entertaining songs and not having to worry about trying to get those songs to fit into a story. He didn't like what he called situation shows. Now, how they actually got him to do this, there are a variety of stories that I found in my research. The one story is that Rodgers and Hammerstein themselves kind of said to him, well, take the script home and just see what you can do with it. And of course, being the songwriter that he was, Berlin took it home, played with it for a weekend, and came back with like 5 songs and said, is this what you're looking for? And they said, this is exactly what we're looking for. So that's the most famous story. The other story is that Ethel Merman herself kind of persuaded him to take it on. Again, I don't know which one of those stories is true. The Rodgers and Hammerstein version sounds more plausible to me personally. But that's basically how they got him in. This was his first and I think his only situation. No, that's not true. He did a couple others, but this was the first one that he had ever done. So as you can probably tell from the title, the show fictionalizes the story of Annie Oakley, who was you're all so young, you probably don't know who Annie Oakley was. She was a trick shooter in a traveling Wild West show. This was a big thing back in the day, especially to city folk. You have a Wild West show. It's kind of like a traveling rodeo, almost. You have horse acts, and you have bronco busters, and, all that, and the trick shooters, and Annie Oakley was one of the most famous. So this show spawned a number of great hits for Berlin, which is all he wanted, and some songs that would become synonymous with Ethel Merman as well as Broadway itself. Songs like You Can't Get a Man with a Gun, Act Naturally, Anything You Can Do, I Can Do Better. But probably the most famous song from the show is the one that would become the kind of unofficial anthem of Broadway, kind of surpassing the previous one, Give My Regards to Broadway by George M. Cohan, and that would be There's No Business Like Show Business. That'd become one of Ethel Merman's big hits, and it would become, as I said, the unofficial theme of Broadway, basically up to this day. And you can follow the link that I'm putting in the description of the video to kind of see her perform that.